This next Christmas card is a really wonderful pop-up. I've printed the cover here and we've got our inside and some lines here measuring up, showing you where everything's going to go. That will become apparent in a moment. And then, as ever, we've got our elements here, which I've gone ahead and cut out, pre-scored and folded, and I'll talk about those a little bit more as we go along. But basically we've got our holly wreath, our lantern and our candle. So I'm going to start off with the candle first of all. We're going to build this card really from the inside out and then just put all the elements in. I think that's going to be easier to do. So first off, I've got the candle element here, and you can see the score lines and the fold lines there. Everything folds up. Just put a little bit of fold onto those there. So the first thing to do is just glue these two halves together to make the inner part of our candle. That'll just give it a little bit more strength. So again, with my trusty glue pen, I'll just glue that and fold it over and put that on there. Now if the flame part doesn't quite match, you can come back with your scissors and just simply trim down anything that you need. Now that's going to go into our center part of the candle here, so that's the next thing to look at. Again, you can see that I've pre-scored and folded this. Now we've got, it's basically we're just making a cube, but the sides fold in and out as well to allow it to open and close. We've got two tabs at the bottom, one at the top here with a hole in it, a slot. That's where the candle flame is going to go through and out. So again, all I'm going to do now is just glue this together, a little bit of waste paper in there, and just get that first tag here. It's not particularly big, so you're going to need a lot of glue onto that, and then that should just fold over like so, and that creates our box, and we know that's all in the right position. That's found its own way. It doesn't matter if it should line up, but if it doesn't quite, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Then you'll notice as we squeeze it, we can squeeze it to a shape, something like that. That's going to allow it to open and close. Then we've got this tab here. That's free to move, but we glue that part, and that's going to glue into there like so. So I just pop that onto there. Again, piece of waste paper underneath, and just use my trusty pen. I can glue that, then slot that underneath, and you can see here now I'm just pushing that down and it's finding where it wants to go, and I think that's important with these pop-ups. It sometimes doesn't quite line up to our lines, we haven't quite cut it square or folded it. It doesn't matter, it looks fine. So that's the inner part of our candle there. We have two tabs, these are going to come out and they're going to sit on our first line that we see here like so. At this point, what I'm going to do is first of all just check that my candle can actually just slot in and out of that there. If it doesn't, then I'll need to make it a little bit bigger, but that's okay. So first off, fold those back, one either side, and just again a little bit of waste paper here, glue tab 1 and tab 2. And that's going to sit right on the center line there, right in the middle. This just helps lift the candle and gives it a little bit of strength as well. And there we go. That's, and again, if we close our card, we'll see that that just sits straight up there. So with my trusty glue pen, we're going to glue these tabs here. Because we've made this up, I find the easiest thing is just to make it almost back into a square, turn it over, and again just pop our glue on like so. Then we're going to just thread this over, and then we can just thread that through there. I've made a little bit of cut in that, but it's not a problem, I can glue that. Now unusually for a pop-up, I'm going to try and make this actually in position. By that I mean I'm going to stick this down in its upright position rather than folding it, but I'm just only gluing it lightly. Then I'll hold that down like so and let it really find its ultimate position, and this should come back down and start pulling itself in and out again like so. So the next thing to do is to put the lantern on, and with the lantern what we need to do is just print out one side first of all, and then come back and run it back through the printer, and you get that part of the lantern in there, and that makes it look like it's all nice and golden and glowing. And again, what we're going to do is just fold this into position like so, glue that tab there, it's my trusty glue pen, just glue that, and then just let that find its own position. With the folding, it should more or less be where we want it to be. Then we can come back now, back to our main part here, and we can see what's going to happen is these two are just going to slot in like so. We've got our guideline here, a white guideline, we can pop that onto there, and that will just rest in the middle like so. So glue one side down, line up with the line there, fold that flat, that will just be able to go into its own position, then fold it over, rub that down. Now as we open and close, you can see the lantern opening and closing with our candle. Incidentally, with the candle, I've cut that and I'm going to come back and fix it, but I find sometimes you can try pushing it downwards, so as we open it just opens and closes down there, by the way, and that just gives you a little bit more of a candle shape, as we can see there. So the next thing to do is to come on to the wreath. Again, our little holly wreath here, what we've done is cut it all out. We've got our fold tabs there which are going to glue on, but we're going to make this first, and we're just going to see that there's a score line down there and it runs down through here as well. What we've got to do is just glue these two halves together. Now we glue this in position. It's an unusual thing for the pop-ups because it's going to actually form a shape under pressure, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So you can see as I pull these two bits together and gluing that onto there, actually I've glued this the wrong way, that should be on there, typical. Bit of glue on that part there, and as it opens up it'll just pull itself out like so, and it just gives a little bit of an edge like that. So this is what I call made under pressure. And now what we're going to do is glue those two tabs onto the side, and that'll just pull out and pull that to that side there. So some glue onto here. To get the wreath on, what we're going to do is just squeeze the box in the other way here and just rest that down through there like so. As it gets to the bottom it tapers, so it'll be a nice fit, as we can see there. Then those sides can come out like so. And again, what we're going to do is just, if I can just tilt this up, I'm going to put the tab backwards, and there's the white line there. If I just pull this to one side, you should be able to see it. Remember, this is going to be under pressure, so we line that up there, make sure everything's in, push it down. It's important to have a good strong joint on these. So I said they are under a lot of pressure. Now unusually for a pop-up, what I can do is pull this back and just glue it this side. Now these lines, centre lines, must line up with the middle of your card, but we can do the old traditional method of just closing it up as well. But by doing it that way, slightly under pressure, you make sure that when it opens that we do get this lovely curve, as you can see there. And there we go, that's our card. It really is quite a stunning Christmas card, I think you'll agree. And now if you want to, you can embellish this a little bit further. I've got extra leaves here which we could just put around the side if you want to, and then I think you could actually, if you wanted to, just put a little something on the inside just to cover up the workings if you want. Again, there's extra embellishments on the sheet if you want to use those just to add to it. But I think you'll agree, really quite a spectacular Christmas card. So we have our lovely candle there, we open up and we get this beautiful Christmas candle appearing for us on our pop-up.